What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, in this one, we're going to be going over those the approval rating for President Trump in his second term, which is not looking too good. It's the trajectory is just steadily going down, and he's getting close to his first 100-day mark. So, we're going to look at the uh, mainly the Fox News poll that came out a few days ago, and which he is apparently not very happy about. So thank you very much for joining me. Let me go ahead and get to it. So swap over here. All right. The Fox News poll, the first 100 days of Trump's presidency in the second term, states that 82% are extremely or very concerned about inflation, which is down from 89% in January, but still pretty high for inflation. But as we get going here, as President Trump approaches 100 days, the 100th day of his second term, a Fox News survey finds voters pleased with the job he is doing on border security, but displeased on pretty much everything else. Border security is the only positive at the moment that he has, even though it is just a slight positive, like barely a positive. Trump receives his best remarks on border security as a 55% majority approves. That's the only issue where his ratings are in positive territory. On immigration, a record high of 48% approval of Trump, with a 47% approval with 48% disapproval. So right there, the same, is, well, it shows down here that his that border security is 55% approval, 40% disapproval. But everything else, as you see, if we go down the list, is all is disapproval is just through the roof. Immigration is just barely there. So, like, an immigration kind of ties into the border security. I think it's the border security. It's positive in the fact that border crossings have dropped, like, significantly, because of the fears of deportation and everything else. I mean, was an ad placed by us into Mexico, like on Mexico television, like companies or whatever, on their services, that where we were basically saying, it was like Christy Nome or whatever on in the ad, basically saying, if you come to the United States, you will be deported. Like, it's not even like, doing the whole, if you come illegal thing or whatever. It's like basically to the most degree, like, do not come to the United States or you will be deported. Like, it's like, immigration, we do not, like. I mean, it was so bad to the degree that Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, banned the ad from playing in Mexico because of the disrespect that it was basically giving. And then, they're even like looking at the one or two like news area stations and whatnot that I was actually, or TV companies that were allowing the ad to even be played, in concerning measure there. But anyways, and well, I mean, I guess you could argue, how controlling that really is, but that's not the discussion here. But it's, but yes, because, the fear of people coming, of being deported in any kind of way, border crossings have decreased, like, dramatically, almost to nothing. And, so there, to some degree, that can be viewed as positive, although I don't like the action in which we have gotten to that point. I mean, and I don't particularly care for the, I understand, like, promoting people to, as much as possible, or making it uh, the the best possible system set up to where you are encouraging people, or people are encouraged to come through legal routes rather than illegal routes, because we have an efficient system that gets them in effectively, allows them status, where applicable, whatever, and it's a quick turnover, whatever. I mean, which would help to promote people to come through legal means more than illegal means. That's the way that I would prefer things to work. To have a effective system that works efficiently, and allows for people to come through, and and it uh, has a positive net outcome in people coming through the legal way, that they wouldn't feel the need to try to come through the illegal way. That's what I would prefer. But either way, okay, I think that's where the border security positivity is that they're seeing, okay, where border crossings are at an all-time low or whatever, and so that's positive. That's, I think, where all that lies. But when you start looking, but when you're looking at immigration itself and the practices that have been going on, and how it's looking more and more, and I think the appeal of how the administration is going about immigration, and the lack of due process, questioning, and the questioning, and judiciaries, and all this kind of, and this kind of pushback that they keep doing, and the lies and stuff that are being revealed over and over and over again, when they are discussing immigration. I think that is little by little changing the scope um, on immigration as well. And reason why at the moment we have a slight, very slight, but a slight disapproval net over approval with the 48-47. But all of these issues, the thing about it is that all of them have shifted. So where, coming into his administration, Trump, a lot of these stuff was positive for Trump. The idea for towards inflation was bad, but like the idea that Trump was going to fix it was positive. The tariff question was there was some approval for it, like the idea of, yeah, we would like some tariffs on some stuff, and we think it's has some positive effect. I mean, all these different things at one point was net positives for Trump in January when he took over, even into February. But there's been, as things have rolled out and policies have been put in place, or executive orders have been put in place, and actions are being taken on all these fronts, the whole perception and everything has almost flipped. And you've seen that trajectory month after month. From February to March, it was lower. From March to April, now it is. I mean, it's just falling. All these things are flip flopping. Where at one point they were net positive approval, now it's net disapproval. So, on my immigration, record high of 48, 47 disapproval, 48, while a new low of 38% approval on the economy, 56% disapproval. His worst rating is on inflation, which is at 30. That hurts. 33% approval, 59% disapproval, followed by tariffs, 33% approval, 58% disapproval, foreign policy, 40% approval, 54% disapproval, taxes, 38% approval, 53% disapproval, and guns, 41% approval, 44% disapproval. So we see all that here. This is immigration, deportations. Maybe see if I can get that blown up some. There we go. deportations 49, 45, guns 4440, foreign policy 5440, economy 5638, taxes 5338, tariffs 5833, inflation 5933. All right. So overall approval of Trump's job performance comes in at 44%, down 5%, 5 points from 49% approval in March. So his overall job performance is coming down, and it's below water. That's lower than the approval of Biden, which was at 54% at this time, Barack at 62, and even George W. Bush at 63 at their 100-day mark. It's also lower than 1 point compared to Trump's 45% approval at this point in his first term 8 years ago. So he was at 45% approval at his 100-day mark in his first term. Now he's at 44 in his second. And we haven't gotten to the 100-day mark yet, and that is going downward. Some 59% of voters are unhappy with how things are going in the country. This is an improvement since the end of former President Biden's term, which is at 68% dissatisfied, but worse than 4 years ago at the beginning of Biden's term, which is at 53% dissatisfied. It's also worse than the 100-day mark in Trump's first term, which was at 53% dissatisfied. Since his inauguration in January, satisfaction amongst Democrats has turned to dissatisfaction and vice versa among Republicans. Dissatisfaction remains steady among independents. Voters remain gloomy about the economy as a 71% rate economic conditions negatively, and 55% say it is getting worse for their family. Both of those numbers are slightly improvements compared to where they stood in December. Still, only 28% say it feels like things are getting better, and by a 22-point margin more think Trump's policies are hurting rather than helping the economy. Trump is underwater by a narrow 11-point margin when voters are asked what they expect from his policies in the long term. So that's showing here. So you see where the trajectory was really high back in this is April 23 during Biden's term, getting worse. And then it's been little by little, the getting worse is going down, but the getting better is also going down now. Staying the same is actually going up. So a lot of people not really feeling like the economy is doing any different. It's not getting worse, but it's not really getting better. It's kind of staying the same. And that's, I think, the overall feeling. But the trajectories for going forward, though, it's the feeling is kind of getting worse. So, view on Trump's policies. Do you think Trump policies are helping the economy, hurting the economy, or are they not making any difference either way? 54% hurting, helping 32%, no difference 10. Don't know 4%. In the long run, do you think Donald Trump's policies will help the country, hurt the country, or make it any difference? 51% feel like is going to hurt the country. 40% will help it says to help a country. 5% no difference. 4% don't know. So you have a little bit of an uptick in helping the country from what they feel now. They feel in the long term it will help some people, but ultimately still hurting is where we lie on both current and long term. Here we see, based on Trump's first 100 days, are you encouraged about the next 4 years or discouraged about the next 4 years? In April, currently is at encouraged 38%, discouraged 51%, which is, you can see here from April 2017 in his first term, discouraged is about the same, but the encouraged is actually much lower. While inflation remains a major worry, the 82% who say they are very concerned about high prices is the lowest since September 2021. This marks a decline from 89% in January and a high of 93 in July 2022. Another 8 in 10 voters are concerned about political divisions, 78%, while about 7 in 10 feel the same about health care, 76%. Government spending, 73%, and recession, 72%. 2/3 or fewer are worried about immigration, 66%. Iran getting a nuclear bomb, 66%. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, 61%. And the stock market, 58%. That's what this is showing here. So inflation is top concern to voters as far as what they're concerned with. Inflation and high prices. Clearly, that's been the issue all along. That's what technically you could argue won Trump the election, or at least gave him the amount of support that he got, was inflation, because he said that he was going to fix inflation on day one, just like everything else he claimed he was going to do on day one. He's claimed he was going to stop, the Russia-Ukraine war on day one. He was going to stop the genocide in Gaza on day one. He was going to stop immigration, which is probably the only thing he could argue he actually has done. All these things that he argued that he was going to stop on day one, and we have not seen that happen. So inflation still remains very high. Divisions amongst the country, which is, I'm surprised that is actually a concern for, that high of a concern anyways. Healthcare still remains very high. Government spending, high. Economy entering a recession, high. Immigration, 66. Iran getting a nuclear bomb, that one I don't understand, because they're not close to it. China trade war escalating to war, 66%. I don't think that's going to happen either. At least not the trade war part. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, 61%. Stock market, 58%. I think the information stuff is a little better, or the graphs. Voters think tariffs hurt economy prices. In general, do you think imposing tariffs or fees on products imposed on your country hurts U.S. economy? See here, 55% hurts, 32% helps, 8 no difference. Hurts U.S. jobs, 44% says hurts, 36% helps, 13% no difference, and makes stuff more or less expensive. 72%. So people clearly understand that tariffs make things more expensive. So the argument that Trump constantly had all through this, and still even has to this day, that tariffs are paid by, the countries that we impose them on, and that it's not going to make any difference in how, we pay for things or anything like that. Clearly, that message did not go, people did not believe that. They know that the price is going to be put on us, clearly. And why this percentage only is equating to hurting our economy and jobs, that's crazy. But 7% less expensive, 16% no difference. Will Doge efforts lead to... How likely is it that the efforts of the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency will lead to each of the following? Dark is very or somewhat, light red is not very. A more efficient government, a federal government, 49-48. So very close there, almost split down the middle. That Doge will lead to a more efficient government. Improvements in the economy, 48% very, 50% not very. So as you see here, the leaning to not very is growing. Improvements in government services, Lowering taxes for people like you. 43% very, 54% not very. So we can see that people were realizing that Doge is not really doing anything to help. Like, you know, Elon act like it was. They don't feel like they were improving the economy with it. The government services thing, improvement in government services, they can clearly realize that when you start destroying agencies that are, providing services that benefit the American people, and you're just breaking them apart, eliminating workers, making it harder on the agency to actually enact those services to the point that you're, basically shutting down that service in that agency. Clearly, it does not help us. Lowering taxes for people like you. They're not going to help lower taxes. That's what people feel like. Percent saying that they want the president to succeed. This is one that I hadn't really ever seen before, and I thought it was interesting when I saw it. Actually wanting, and I guess this is actually wanting a president to succeed with the perception of what that president is doing. Maybe I'm thinking maybe that's where we're looking at here. Bush back in 2006, 63% people wanted him to succeed. I guess based in, like I said, based in what that president respectively was claiming they were going to do, I guess, or were, I don't know, or I don't know if it's more in claiming or actively pursuing. I don't know, but Obama 84%, Trump in his first term 80%, Biden 78%, Trump at the lowest here in the modern era at 62% right now, wanting the president to succeed in, I guess, his rhetoric or whatever. And I think that's the big, for me, the takeaway is the biggest is that while when you're talking about a lot of these issues, there is some room and wiggle of nuance, like in the discussion of it, that yes, there are areas in all of these issues that need fixing, right? I mean, clearly our border security needed to be improved. Clearly immigration process needed to be improved. Clearly deportation process needed to be improved. Gun process, foreign policy processes, the economy needed to improve. Tax process needed to be improved. Tariff process, inflation, like we clearly all of these things needed to be improved. But the problem lies in how an administration goes about making those improvements. And where it's clear that people initially go, yeah, I mean, these areas certainly need improvements. Where we always lie in is how to improve that. And that's ultimately the biggest issue when looking at like our duality we have in our system of, Republican versus Democrat, conservative versus liberal, whatever, however you want to view it, is that we just have, usually the issue is us having a path, like the direction in which we want to improve these things. They differ in a lot of ways, if not most ways. But when you see an administration doing actions, that's when both parties from, or people on both sides of the spectrum start to look at an administration and go, okay, like, Democrats go, well, this is how, when they're thinking in their mind, well, this is how I would have done it, but this is what the administration is doing. And the Republicans go, well, this is how I would have wanted it done, but this is what the administration does. And it's like reflecting how much that, correlates with each other. And when both of them are looking at an administration like Trump's and what they're doing, and they're both going, I'm not sure I like this, you've got a problem. And I'm not saying that Trump is alone in this. I mean, that was the same problem with Biden. It's the same problem with Trump before. Same problem, even to some degree, with Obama. Or even going back, like the disconnect that administrations often have with what people actually think an administration is going to do. So everybody, we can acknowledge that there's issues here in all of these areas that need to be fixed. We might have differences in how they are fixed, but then when we start looking at an administration and how they're going about fixing it, or they're claiming they're going about fixing it, and it's like nowhere close. Like Trump is so far departed from what even we've seen in Biden or even his first administration, Trump's first administration, or certainly from the Obama era. Like it's so far beyond that, like in a way that is alarming to everyone, not just even regular, ordinary everyday folks, but also, the elites. Some are in question. Wall Street is in question. You've got all the other countries in question. What's going on? I mean, you've got everybody is like on pins and needles about what the administration is doing. And clearly, this is not boding well for Trump and his approval. When all of these issues that he flounced the most, tariffs, like he's trying to ride and die on the tariffs, even though he's little by little pulling back on them. He isn't doing anything about inflation. That's clear as day. That's the reason why it's the highest. Taxes. People aren't too positive about taxes. Not positive about the economy. Not positive about the foreign policy when he's trying to, attack every damn body. All this time, everybody's claimed that he's, anti-war or is not a warmonger, which, he wanted to complain and talk about, Cheney's and Hillary and everything about being, warmongers. But yet here he is acting like he wants to go to war with everybody. Wants to go to war with Canada, wants to go to war with Mexico, wants to go to war with Greenville, wants to go to war, Greenland, wants to go to war with Denmark over Greenland, wants to go to war with Iran, wants to go to war with Yemen, wants to go to war with Panama, wants to go to war with China, wants to go to war with, you name it, he's trying to, escalate tensions in every area all across the globe. Clearly, people, wants to own Gaza, for instance. It's not working there. I don't know where the gun issue come out. That one's kind of a weird one because I haven't thought that they haven't done much of anything about guns, which maybe that's the problem. I don't know. That was a weird one for me on this list. But deportation, I feel like this number is going to steadily shift. This is going to shift this way. This is going to shift this way. Especially if they continue doing what they're doing in El Salvador. So will the immigration number. Border security will probably stay fairly good because, even though these are connected to border security, unless something crazy starts happening at the border, like stories coming out of some kind of crazy acts going on at the border, like that we've been seeing in deportations. then you might see a change in thought there. But overall job performance, 55% to 44. So it's underwater by 9 or 9% difference. Underwater by 6. Oh, well, I guess it's underwater by 9 technically. First 100 days. But if you ask Trump, everybody loves him. And everybody loves what he's doing. And there's nothing wrong with anything that they're doing. Clearly, you're wrong. And he immediately went to attacking Fox News in this report. And I don't know if it stated it in this article, but he was attacking I don't guess it was in this article. But it was, he apparently put out a truth attacking Fox News, this poll. And, it's acting like they're always bad to them and, just horrible people, blah, blah, blah. As he does with everybody. Anytime he gets any kind of pushback from anybody, they're wrong, he's right, they're bad people, horrible, evil, whatever the case. But the data's there. People aren't liking what you're doing, Trump. It's time for you to take accountability and face up to that. Are you going to continue doing it, or are you going to change your route? What do you want your legacy to ultimately be? Let me know in in the comments what you think about the disapproval and approval. Where do you think the trajectory is going to go? Depending upon what? Like I said, he could turn this around. I mean, he really could. I personally wouldn't, think positively of him overall at all, period. But, I mean, I could, if he did turn things around on a lot of these issues, I could give him percentage credit for at least noticing the mistake and making an attempt to correct it. But so far, that doesn't seem to be the case. Thank you. Till next time, it's ClearTalk. Peace. I'm out.